Okay, so today we're going to be looking at something pretty wild.
Yeah, definitely wild.
Imagine you just bought this like super fancy apartment
Yeah, yeah.
in like a brand new high rise,
Okay.
right? Like the 롯데캐슬, Eastpol, and Seoul. You're like ready to move in, excited for that new construction smell
Right.
and just like living the high life.
Sure.
But then you find out there are like over 50,000 problems with the building.
Oh, wow.
Like 50,000 reported defects,
Wow.
leaky pipes,
Mm.
electrical issues, problems with the heating system,
Really?
and like almost 600 of them are classified as serious.
Oh my gosh.
So we're going to be diving deep into this whole story today based on some Korean news articles.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
So like what's really interesting to me here is that this isn't just like a small thing.
Right.
These problems, some of them could even be dangerous, and they point to a much bigger issue, like the
Yeah.
whole construction and inspection process itself.
Right.
The articles even mention that like a lot of areas weren't even finished when they did the first inspection.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder if they were cutting corners to get this massive project done.
Yeah, like were they rushing to the finish line?
Exactly.
So get this, even with all these problems, Lotte Construction, the company that built the place,
Right.
and the Gwangjin district office,
Okay.
they're still going ahead with the move-in date.
They are.
Yeah, they're basically saying, move in now, we'll fix it later.
Oh, wow.
I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be too happy about moving into a place like that.
No, not at all.
It's like a potential construction nightmare.
Yeah, I can see why the residents are upset.
Oh, they are. They're furious.
Yeah.
They even formed a residents association to fight back.
What's it called?
It's called Underfund.
On a phone.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It translates directly to Pre-Move-In Residents Association.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like resident associations you see in other countries, where they act as a united voice to protect their interests.
Makes sense.
They're demanding proof that Lotte is actually fixing things,
Yeah,
not just promises.
of course.
And they want a realistic timeline for when those repairs will actually be done.
That's fair.
It makes you wonder what Lotte Construction is thinking.
Right.
Are they really trying to fix everything, or are they just worried about making money?
Yeah. Are they putting profit over resident safety?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'd think a big company like Lotte would care more about their reputation, especially with a project this big,
Yeah, you'd think so.
especially in Korea.
Well, if you think about the bigger picture, Lotte Construction is saying that legally they can fix some of these things after people move in. So that's where things get kind of complicated.
Okay.
What does the law in Korea say about when a building is considered finished?
Right.
And how much does it protect the people living there?
Yeah, are there loopholes they're using?
Exactly. These are all things we need to consider.
Then there's the district office. They're basically saying it's not their problem.
Really? Yeah.
They're claiming they followed all the rules when they approved the building
Wow.
and that any problems will be dealt with later. But here's the thing. Lotte Construction has donated money to the district office in the past.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And guess what?
What?
Their new building is right next door to the 롯데캐슬 Eastpol.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
Are they turning a blind eye to these potential safety hazards because they're connected to Lotte?
Are they putting development ahead of the residents' well-being?
Exactly. And that's exactly what the residents are thinking.
Yeah, I can see why they're suspicious.
And it's why they've decided to take this fight public.
So what have they done?
Well, they had a public hearing recently to try to get everyone to the table.
Oh, okay.
The district office, Lotte Construction, even some local politicians.
So everyone's involved.
Yeah, and they're not stopping there.
What else are they doing?
They're planning a huge protest in front of Lotte World Tower.
Lotte World Tower.
Yeah, it's like one of the most famous landmarks in Seoul.
Wow, that's a big statement.
Yeah, it's definitely a power move.
It sounds like they're really tapping into a lot of distrust people have towards big companies and the government.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how Lotte responds to all this pressure.
Yeah. Will they actually delay the move-in date, or are they going to stick to their guns?
Yeah, what will they do?
A protest at Lotte World Tower. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what they're hoping to accomplish.
Right. Like, is it just about delaying when they have to move in?
I think it's more than that.
Okay.
Like, they're really pushing for a second round of inspections before anyone moves in.
Yeah.
And this time they want the communal areas checked, too.
Oh, so not just the individual apartments.
No, like, remember, this is supposed to be a luxury complex.
Right.
Gyms, swimming pools, gardens, all that stuff.
Yeah.
If those shared spaces have problems, it affects everyone.
Yeah, true. It's not just about your own little unit. It's like buying a fancy car and finding out the engine's a lemon.
Right.
Sure, they might fix it, but it's
Yeah.
just not the same. Plus, how do you even know those fixes will last?
Exactly, and the residents are worried about their investment.
Well, yeah, of course.
They want to know that things are fixed for good.
Right, not just quick fixes to make it look good for now.
Right, because they're the ones who will be stuck with the problems later.
One of the articles I read quoted a construction expert,
Okay.
and they were saying that Lottie Construction might have messed up in how they manage the subcontractors.
Interesting. So that brings up the question of who's really responsible.
Right, like in a project this big, there are so many different companies involved.
It's like a chain reaction.
Okay.
If one part is weak, the whole thing falls apart.
But ultimately, Lottie Construction is the one in charge.
Right, they're the developer.
So they're the ones who have to make sure everything is safe and up to code.
This whole case really makes you think about how important it is to have good regulations.
Yeah.
And strong consumer protection laws.
Not just in Korea, but everywhere.
Absolutely.
So how do we prevent things like this from happening again?
Well, there are a few things we can do.
Okay.
First, we need stricter laws that actually protect homeowners
Yeah.
and hold developers accountable when they do bad work.
What kind of laws?
Like, imagine if developers had to pay huge fines if they didn't meet quality standards. That would make them think twice about cutting corners.
Yeah, that would definitely get their attention.
Right.
And the residents in this case are really pushing for transparency.
Yes, they're demanding reports, evidence of repairs, third-party inspections.
So they want to see the proof with their own eyes.
Exactly, because transparency builds trust, and right now there's no trust.
It's interesting how this whole thing has become such a big issue in Korea.
It's become a symbol of something much bigger.
Yeah, like people are talking about corporate responsibility and the government's role in all of this.
Right, and it's captured the attention of the media and the public.
So they're putting pressure on the people in power to fix these problems.
It's really encouraging to see the residents speaking out and organizing protests.
Yeah, they're not giving up.
It just shows that even when you're up against a giant company, you can still make a difference if you work together.
And the fact that they're talking to the media and getting their story out there is huge.
Absolutely, because it shows the power of public opinion.
Right. Like when people know what's going on, they can demand better from their leaders.
And hold companies accountable for their actions.
This case really shows that we all have a voice.
And we need to use it.
So what's the latest on the 롯데캐슬 Eastpol?
Are they actually fixing these problems, or are they just trying to cover things up?
Well, it sounds like Lottie Construction is in full damage control mode right now.
Really?
Yeah, the articles say they've got tons of workers at the site, like working 24/7,
Oh, wow.
trying to fix as much as they can before people are supposed to move in.
Okay.
They're even saying that they've fixed most of the problems already.
But are they just doing quick fixes?
Right. Are they just trying to cover things up? Yeah. Are the residents actually believing them?
Well, I think a lot of them are still skeptical.
Yeah.
Remember, they've been lied to before.
Right.
So trust is a big issue here.
Yeah.
The Residents Association is demanding proof,
Proof of what?
like detailed reports about each repair
Okay.
and evidence that they're doing everything right.
So they're not just taking Lottie's word for it.
Nope, they're not taking any chances.
Well, yeah, it makes sense.
They're the ones who'll have to live there.
Exactly.
If something goes wrong later, they're the ones who'll have to deal with it.
So it's their safety on the line.
And their investment.
The residents are also pushing for an independent inspection.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like they want someone who's not connected to Lotte to come in and check things out.
That seems like a pretty reasonable request.
Right. Especially with all the problems they found.
And the fact that Lotte might have been too close to the district office.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you think Lotte will agree to that?
That's a good question.
Like, wouldn't they want to control the story?
Yeah, they probably don't want any more bad press.
But if they refuse, it'll just make people more suspicious.
It's a tough spot for them.
Yeah, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place.
On one hand, they need to stick to the move-in date.
Because if they delay things, they lose money.
Exactly, and it hurts their reputation.
But on the other hand, if they don't let someone else come in and check things out,
They risk losing even more trust.
this whole thing is just a
It
mess.
really is.
You've got the developer who just wants to make money,
And the residents who just want a safe place to live.
and then the district office caught in the middle.
It goes beyond this one apartment complex, though.
What do you mean?
This has become a much bigger issue in Korea.
Right. It's about more than just the 롯데캐슬 Eastpol
It's about consumer rights and how much power big companies have.
and whether the government is doing enough to protect people.
It's a reminder that sometimes progress comes at a cost.
Yeah, and that cost shouldn't be people's safety or their peace of mind.
The people who bought apartments at 롯데캐슬 Eastpol, They're real people with real lives.
Right. They deserve to know that their homes are safe.
They deserve transparency and honesty.
And they deserve to be treated fairly.
Absolutely.
This whole case shows how important it is to stay informed.
And to know your rights.
Because knowledge is power.
And when we work together, we can make a difference.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a question.
Okay.
What does this story tell us about the things we value?
Like luxury and convenience.
Yeah. Are we willing to sacrifice quality and safety just to have those things?
And what can we do to make sure that our voices are heard?
That's something to think about.
Not just in this case, but in every part of our lives.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.